I don't know if this one will be received well or not, but yeah, tracking. Should you do it? Should you bother with it? I think that most people's views of looking at nutrition can be a bit warped, a little bit toxic, because obviously it's no secret that using stuff like MyFitnessPal, calorie tracking for some people has been a contributor to disordered eating, not a great relationship with food. In that scenario, I probably wouldn't get a client to do that personally, and I probably wouldn't advise someone to do it. So I would then maybe look instead at other ways to look at nutrition, things like different habits, things you can include in your foods, even just mindful eating, which is something that I've done a few courses on as well. And things like that can be very helpful. But I think, regardless of whether you are for or against calorie tracking, there is one important thing. You need to look at nutrition in some way. Because I think sometimes people sort of say, "Oh, I can't track my calories, so therefore, there's nothing I can do." Well, that's not really true. Like that's definitely not true. There's loads of ways you can look at your nutrition habits. There's loads of ways you can be more mindful of how you eat. Even just like eating till you feel satisfied rather than absolutely stuffed. Like things like that are still non-tracking methods you can use. Or if you want to use food photos, maybe tweak the portion sizes. But again, there is this weird idea that the second you look at nutrition, you have to be all in. You have to be obsessive. I've had times where I've said to some clients, look, don't worry, let's not use MyFitnessPal. Let's just look at portion sizes. Let's maybe slightly, tweak that portion size if fat loss is your goal. And they say, oh, but there's no way I can do that because, I'd be starving myself. And I go, well, what does that look like to you out of interest? And they explain the portion sizes that they're talking about. I'm like, well, yeah, like we're not going to eat sticks and twigs for dinner. It's just slightly tweaking it. But yet people seem to think, no, 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 it has to be all in, or vice versa. Some people say, oh, I actually eat really well, but I just find that I graze or I snack in the evening. I say, okay, well, let's have a look at that. Is there anything related to that? Is there anything stress wise that you maybe find? And then they kind of go, oh yeah, it doesn't matter that much. You go, well, you still got to look at nutrition. Or even worse, there's some people who, if they really really want help with the nutrition, they say, oh, but I want to first make sure training's dialed in. And sometimes with clients I will use that approach. But if, for example, getting a better relationship with food is your goal, or not even extreme, just mild weight loss, or even just getting an idea of finally feeling like you know what you're doing nutrition wise, just getting some habits that'll help you feel more energized day to day. All these are valid goals. If any of those is something that applies to you, why would you not just look at nutrition straight away? And it's almost like one of those things where it's like, oh, well, I want to just feel like I'm in a routine of training first before I do it. But the problem is, if you're struggling for a wee while to get into a routine of training, that means it's longer and longer and longer till you actually look at nutrition. So why not start sooner? I think there's this weird idea that we don't need to look at nutrition until we've mastered the perfect training routine, or that if we do look at nutrition, it has to be something really, really extreme. It definitely does not. If you see from any of my stories, I'm definitely enjoying massive bowls of pasta, odd sweet treat, on a weekend or even a weekday, God forbid. So it doesn't need to be anything crazy, but I think that you maybe do need to have a little bit of mindfulness in your nutrition. I think maybe you do need to maybe accept that it might not be perfect, but it doesn't have to be extreme. It can be something small, and it does feel like a boring hassle, but it's largely what it is: boring. Most nutrition habits are boring, so get used to the boring stuff. Don't think you have to go all or nothing. Have a little bit of a look at your nutrition. Don't just put it to the side.